Welcome, everybody, to the Dirty Sheets. It is that time once again. This is where we're going to review Elimination Chamber that is coming up tomorrow. I'm Cav Manning. I'm from the Lingus Mafia podcast. All my nonsense, just look for Lingus Mafia, TikTok, Twitter, wherever you go, YouTube. And I am joined by your number one source for all your wrestling nonsense. This is a man who is at a hotel trying to get into soccer matches. This is Billy Body.
I'm actually not. It just happens coincidentally out of my pure cheek. So, to tell the story, I'm going to the Manchester United game, and I've stopped off in Nottingham, where Nottingham Forest are playing Man City. Man City are at this hotel, and the Nottingham Forest owner walked in. So my plans tomorrow was simply just to finish the drive to Manchester, and because I was actually here to watch Ian McLennan from Lord of the Rings and Magneto and X-Men.
Okay.
He's doing a play here, like a really underground kind of like play, like, you know, he's a big fucking celeb, but he's doing a play with like only 150 people there.
Uh-huh.
So I went to go and watch that, and then that's on staying at this hotel where the team are. I had a feeling they'd be here though. And then the owner of Nottingham Forest walked in, and I said to him, "Hey, you ain't got any tickets for tomorrow, have you?" Jokingly. And his assistant was like, "Yeah, sure, wait here, I'll come and get you some." So
we might get a, you guys won't know it because it'll be edited, but we'll talk about it. If he disappears, we'll have to stop the show and then get him when he comes back after he gets these tickets.
Yeah.
It's funny.
Let's do some promo. Let's do some promo quickly off the bat. Because,
okay, go for it.
This next week's show, there's going to be a guest on who's going to come on this week, but he or she, I don't actually know what it is. No one knows about this person. It's a complete mystery. But X0 News, XERO, who's stirred up a lot of controversy on Twitter because he hasn't got a percentage, I would say, that's as high as mine. I would say it's a little bit 60-40, which isn't the best way to promote the guest. But he does get cited by the dirt sheets, and within that 60%, there's been ridiculous stuff. Like, there's been ridiculous stuff where there's no way you would know it unless you really did know someone. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, it's very much a case of, I don't know why he goes with some of the stories where they go wrong.
Is he a United States guy?
No, I think he's English because we've been talking about English Times. But, I mean, the biggest flop was, you know, The Rock winning the Royal Rumble, which was adamant about that he would be in and whatever. I mean, I know I said The Rock was doing WrestleMania, but I never said he was winning the Royal Rumble or anything, because that situation was becoming more and more cloudy as there was like doubts over the you know, the Vince thing. Mm-hmm. But he predicted that and was wrong. But he's also predicted some backstage stuff which is crazy. Like, he gets like Sap's sort of rundown for Raw and SmackDown, but with a lot more detail. So yeah.
So yeah, we will have that person on. How are we contacting them? Is it going to be like a WhatsApp call from them into the show?
Hold on.
We'll figure it out.
Hold on.
We'll leave this part on because that was Billy running to go get free tickets from the owner of Robin Hood Nottingham Forest. I was going to tell him, you know, we don't know. Oh, here he is. Are you there, Billy? I've been telling the audience how you were going to run to go see the fucking Robin Hood Nottingham Forest owner.
No, that wasn't that. That was Austin talking over the show, so I had to mute it and then just cut it off.
Oh,
Austin
couldn't even catch it. So the funniest thing is that Nottingham Forest, I don't think that American people think that's a real place. I always thought it was made up from Robin Hood.
No, it's a real place. Nottingham is a place, and the team's called Nottingham Forest. So
that's funny. So let's get into what's going on with Elimination Chamber. One thing to talk about beforehand is your favorite guy, Cody Rhodes. And because he did a promo with Sami Zayn on Monday, I do appreciate that they're not just ignoring that Sami has a shot to win the title, which we know he's not going to. So they're hyping it up. At least they're giving us this, a little bit of something to pretend that, hey, it could be Sammy at Mania against Cody, instead of just like they normally do. They just ignore it because it's not going to happen. So at least they paid this some attention.
Right.
What is your thoughts on that? Did you think that was a good move? I mean, I think it's a good move because you can't ignore it.
Yeah, it's like, there was a line the other week with Heyman. They talked a little bit about Sammy, but then when it got heated, he said, I'll beat Roman at WrestleMania. So they sort of integrated Sammy into it, and then they disregarded him once the promo got to its like meat and potatoes. So I just feel, yes, obviously for the sake of, for the sake of believability and storylines, and to put some like steam behind the pay-per-view, you've got to sell that. And maybe even, you might trigger, the markiest of marks who might think it's a triple threat, or people will start fantasy booking the triple threat, or maybe the Bloodline get involved and Cody saves Sammy and then accidentally costs him the belt. So Cody has cost him by helping, and then we're building towards a three-way. I mean, it's not that far-fetched, but I think the overriding definitive conclusion is that Roman will come out of Montreal with a title, obviously. But then it's just a case of, I guess what they're really teasing there is potentially a three-way. I think that's a mistake. I think the whole thing is a mistake. I think just at this point in time, one misconception is that I hate Cody or I don't like Cody. I don't think he's big enough to dethrone Roman Reigns. I think he'd be a fine challenger for a SummerSlam or anything like that during this run, a Saudi show, whatever. To go to WrestleMania and be the actual person who dethrones him, I don't agree with that. It's also underwhelming when The Rock sold out all these tickets. Second of all, what also goes against him is that you got a red hot babyface, and one thing Roman hasn't done is faced red hot babyfaces. So he's been very much he's been so cool. He's not the babyface, but he's been too cool to boo. He's clearly been the heel, but he's just been a lot cooler than most of the people he's faced. When you look back at the run, I don't think Bryan was too strong when he met up against him. Edge was. I think Edge was a very credible opponent, but there's a lot of guys there who you knew weren't going to win. You've got your Goldbergs and Cesaros, and even with Brock Lesnar's obviously massive, but you knew he couldn't win the feud. And even, my boy, as people say, Drew McIntyre, the only thing going for him was the UK. There was nothing going for him creatively because he'd been booked poorly since he lost the title. And then suddenly it's like, oh, you're in England, you might win. And it's like, no, hold on a minute. Like he's lost to Big E. Like he challenged Big E. He lost his belt to Lashley. He lost to Big E, trying to win it back. He's been on SmackDown. He faced Baron Corbin at WrestleMania in a nothing match and has faced him numerous times since. And now it's like, Drew's getting the title shot at Clash of the Castle. It wasn't enough. And that's been the case of Roman's, a lot of Roman's title reigns. It's been like, shit, who's next? Like, we got to make somebody quick. We got to make someone for next month. But Sammy got really hot. And it's just bad timing for Cody because Cody feels exactly like one of those quick rushed opponents that Roman's had. It's like, oh, we got to get to WrestleMania. Oh, let's quickly have someone win the Rumble. Whereas Sammy's got the long 9-month story. And then Rollins has got the 10-year story. If Roman comes through this, you actually haven't done the Rollins match. And you haven't done the Orton match. You haven't done Orton coming back and getting the title match. The best feud that Roman Reigns has done has been with John Cena. And that's a fact. So, and some would argue with Jey Uso. And I still feel that's a match you can come back round to. So overall, I'm far more interested still in Roman retaining as opposed to rushing Cody through, because I feel that there's an emotional investment in Sammy. There's an emotional investment in Rollins. There's an emotional investment in a big comeback from Randy Orton. There's an emotional investment in Jey Uso again. And these are all people with a better storyline. And then there'll be emotional investment in Cody when he loses at WrestleMania. And the last thing you see at WrestleMania is him crying, and because he lost, and he didn't do it. And then that gives you Well, that gives you 1 year to get back round to 40 in Philadelphia, where he actually doesn't win the Rumble from 30 and wins it in a credible way, and has to fight his way for 1 year to the title shot, with some good feuds with people along the way. That would be better. In the meantime, Roman can beat Orton, Jay, Rollins, everybody else said. So that's what I would do.
I
that's
figured,
why
like, I agree with you that eventually Cody's going to be getting booed, and that's the worrisome for me, because by the time next year rolls around, I don't think he's what he is right now.
And the thing is
In
right.
Philly,
the thing is,
too.
it just comes back, and it comes back to the same thing as well, because it was an odd one, because he did a thing with Sammy and he gave him the rub, and that was like, okay, so they can't really boo Cody because Cody likes Sammy. Cody's not. They kind of told the story that Cody's not taking away from Sammy. He wants him to win.
Yeah.
That's what they were trying to do. And then he has a thing with Corbin, and then Corbin brings his dad into it again. And I thought, Jesus Christ, this could be the first week where he didn't use his dad to get over, and then Corbin uses his dad, and that's all the guy has, and that's his go-to, which again I don't believe is enough.
So let's go through the card, give some predictions, and see what we got here. First, we got Beth and Edge going against Finn Balor and Mommy. I would assume Beth and Edge are going to win this thing. Just because we haven't seen them, it's a rare they get pulled out of mothballs, But I mean, I can't imagine. Does Rhea take this fucking loss? I don't think so before Mania.
Yeah, I can't see Rhea taking the loss. And for me, I don't see another match for Edge at WrestleMania. You win this, there's two ways this can go. Edge loses again, and maybe puts his career on the line at WrestleMania, or he brings the Brood. We get Brood Edge versus Demon Balor or whatever. Or, Balor loses this match and then he brings out the Demon Balor. But that's a very babyface thing to do. It needs to be Edge who's the one says, I've had enough. Because the loser of this match goes over at WrestleMania. So if Edge and Beth win, Edge loses to Balor. And if Balor and Rhea win, then Edge wins the last match.
It would be better if Demon won, because that's the whole thing, that Demon doesn't lose, right? So just because he's a bad guy, he's going to lose it. He has, right?
Well, he has lost to Roman, that stupid turnbuckle breaking thing. And he lost one match in NXT to Samoa Joe as well. But yeah, I mean, he's more or less close to indestructible. But again, one or two losses does the damage. We saw the same thing with the Fiend,
So now we have Brock versus Bobby. This is interesting from like Raw, where Brock is such a bull in a china shop that he charges fucking Bobby, and Bobby accidentally back body drops him just because he dips his head low, and Brock is going full fucking steam, so he flips over him. Bobby's doing a good job of going, nah, I do it on my time, and I'll figure out, when I want to wrestle you, this and that. Do you think this obviously ends in some sort of a fucking scrum of some sort and nothing happens for a winner because we got to push this to Mania?
I don't know really what order things go in, but I do feel that they do push it to Mania. I actually know a story about this match, an inside story. I haven't even put it on Patreon yet. So I
Give
think
us a taste
for this match. No, I'll do it. I'll do it here. It's not a big story. So I'll first and foremost, I think in this match it could be a way to have the Hurt Business interfere, so that that's how Bobby wins, because he gets loads of help, and then the Hurt Business are shut out for the final match. Maybe Hell in a Cell or something, because I know Triple H was talking about how he didn't want to do those ladder match TLC pay-per-views and Hell in a Cell pay-per-views because they were, finality matches. And he's right. That's one thing I agree with. I never liked those match-branded pay-per-views. We spoke about it on other podcasts before. So that's good. If, like, Hell in a Cell is a natural ending to a feud, this could be a reason to keep the Hurt Business out. So this is where they could interfere. But in terms of this being, where the feud ends and he moves on to Walter, or Steve Austin, the names that have been rumored. I don't agree with that. I think this is the match that you get. Again, I also know, so from my story, is Brock Lesnar asked the WWE why he wasn't booked for Montreal, and they said, "Oh, we just haven't got anything for you there." And he said to them, "Well, get me on the fucking show because you fly me out. I have to fly out here, there, and everywhere, and this is easy for me. It's easy for me to make the show from Saskatchewan. So find something for me to do."
Wow.
Because it's an easy trip for me.
Yeah, easy.
Yeah. So yeah, he said I'd like to do it, like, because it's easy for me. It's an easy trip. So
it does make sense that they would have some then bullshit happen just to be able to get him there to do something and then make this at Mania the big deal.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how many times in history Brock Lesnar said, why am I not booked?
Yeah.
I imagine it's probably zero. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, for him, this was a case of, hey, like, do something with me because this is an easy one to get to, and obviously, he gets paid per pay-per-view, so he's kind of like saying, I get his point in terms of, you book me for all this stuff, I got to get to, from Texas to Brooklyn and all these places, which is fine, but when it's in my country where I live, or where it's a close vicinity, you don't have me on the show. It feels like a bit of a rip, but obviously it's not. But yeah.
Okay. Elimination Chamber match for the United States Championship. You have Austin Theory, who is the champion, versus Seth Rollins, versus Johnny Gargano, versus Bronson Reed, versus Damian Priest, versus Montez Ford. I am predicting Montez will climb the cage like monkey bars to the top and do a splash off of that. There any way that Austin Theory doesn't walk out champion?
If John Cena and Austin Theory don't need the championship, then yeah. If they decided that they want to get, if they decided that they want to get a couple of other people onto the pay-per-view in a US title match, then yeah.
Do you think, obviously, if Austin Theory versus Cena at Mania, it's not like Cena's going to win the championship from him. So does Austin Theory actually beat Cena to give, that giant push? Yeah. So what do you think? Do they do that?
Austin Theory wins that match anyway. So whether it's for the US title or not, I think this match is simply down to the fact if you have another US title match, or look, they don't build up feuds that well. Like, there's not great reasons for people to have matches, even under Triple H. I mean, it's slightly better than they were under Vince, who was just chucking matches out there. But not that I'm particularly a fan of the people that are being pushed either. But if you decide that, for example, who's it? Rollins is in the match, right? So he's not going to win it because he's going to face Logan Paul. So you're not going to decide that Logan Paul and Seth Rollins is going to be for the title unless you want Logan Paul carrying your United States title around for publicity, which, could be a way to go. But that's one option. Who else is in the match?
Gargano.
Right. Who else?
Bronson Reed.
Right.
Priest.
Anyone else? Oh, there's obviously two other guys. Yep.
Priest and Ford.
And okay, so maybe you want to do Priest versus Montez Ford at the pay-per-view, and you decide that you want it for the only way you can do that is by having it for the belt, or if you want to do Gargano winning it, and then you want Gargano to lose to Bronson Reed, or or if you want to do Gargano, Bronson Reed, The Miz, Montez Ford in a fatal 4-way or 5-way, 6-way ladder, or if you want to do a ladder match, if you want to take it off Austin Theory because he's facing Cena, and you want to do a seven guy ladder match for the US title. You see what I mean? Like, that would be the only reason if they could use the US belt to get a load of people onto the pay-per-view. But this is very underwhelming. Both Elimination Chambers are underwhelming to me in terms of the people in them and what they're for. He says that he wants to do away with the pay-per-views that are just there for the sake of it, but this definitely feels like, fuck, Elimination Chamber's coming. Who the fuck do we put in there?
So the next Elimination Chamber match is for the Raw Women's Championship. This is going to be Asuka versus Liv versus Raquel versus Nikki Cross versus Natalya versus Carmella. This is for not the championship, but this is to go face Bianca at Mania. I would assume Asuka is winning this one. Any reason why she would not?
No, it looks like it's all heading towards Oscar.
And I hope she beats Bianca because they're in love with Bianca. I'm tired at this point of it. I mean, she had a match on Raw. It was for the other ones to even get into this thing, which they could have. They kind of set it up like it was going to happen because they go, well, it'll just start as a three-way in the beginning, which you could do.
Yeah, they're getting better. They're getting better at that in terms of saying, you know, Sammy could win, or this could be a three. Yeah, tying a few loose ends together. But yeah, I mean, I find Bianca more attractive than I used to, especially this week. Like, she looked good.
Now her whole ass hangs out now. Now she shows up.
which is better. She needs to do something. If she has some boobs, she'd be right up there, like, you know, like Jade, kind of like Jade. But yeah, I mean, it's just boring, the whole like and shaking the fucking hair thing, and
I'm waiting for that haircut match too. That's coming.
It's been a year now with this as well. Should be champion for a year if she retains her at WrestleMania. But yeah, it's got to be Oscar. There's no one else in there. I mean, the outsider would be Liv if you want to, you know, give her a WrestleMania moment and whatnot. But yeah, no, I don't think so. I think it is Oscar, and I think also Oscar will turn heel properly for this. I mean, because at the moment it's not a defined character in terms of what it is. I think that she'll be a clear heel going in.
Are you going my direction about that there would be the three-way with Bayley and Damage Control versus Lita, Trish, and Becky at Mania, or are we still on that it's going to be Shayna and Ronda versus Damage Control for the titles?
I have no idea what's going on at the moment. So originally the plan was for it to be Shayna and Ronda against Damage Control because Ronda asked to be in a tag match, and she wanted for Shayna to work with Dakota Kai.
Mm-hmm.
She said she wanted her friend to have. It was her dream to work with Dakota Kai because they're a couple. So she wanted to make that happen for. She wanted to make that happen for Shayna. She said she would like to do that match for Shayna because so Dakota and Shayna can have that moment together because they're a couple.
I had no idea that was the case, that they were seeing each other.
Yeah, that's why I'm here.
Wow.
Dude. Like, fucking give you the shit no one knows. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure some people know. I'm sure there'll be some dork out there that does know who stalks everybody's, who stalks people. But I mean, apparently I do that. That's what I use my kids to stalk people. But yeah, no, that's the case. That's why the match is happening. That's what Ronda wanted to do at WrestleMania. It's all her pitch. The problem is Dakota Kai is injured, so I don't know what the time frame is on that.
Do you know what the injury is?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I don't.
Speaking of injuries, is Ciampa injured? Is that why he's gone?
Ciampa's he's been injured for a while. Yeah, otherwise he'd be getting pushed and getting no reaction like all these other NXT guys.
No shit. I'm like the best feud ever was him and Gargano, and now no one cares. Last match at this pay-per-view, and this is the one that everyone's going for. This is the Universal Undisputed Championship. Roman Reigns versus Sami Zayn. I see an image in my head that Cody is kneeling over Sami, looking down the aisle at Roman holding up the two belts when this ends. That Roman is about to kill Sami after he's already won, and Cody runs in for that save, and that's how we go off the air with him just staring down Roman while he has like his hand underneath Sami's head while he's kneeling over him, looking out. And I'm thinking also we're gonna get Owens to show up in this and try to help, and I think there's going to be those almost holy shit I thought he was gonna win moments. Like a lot of those, oh my God, holy shit. Like to the moment of where Triple H and Shawn Michaels almost beat The Undertaker with their Hell in a Cell match.
Yeah, I think they'll do that in there, but I do think the Usos will interfere in the end. I think that'll be it.
And actually help.
As far as Cody goes, I wouldn't even send him to Montreal because he'll get his first boost here at this crowd. So I would just keep him out.
Even
of
if he
Montreal.
goes to
That's what I
save
would
him,
do.
huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, do you
So I don't
see
think-
anything?
This is a smart crowd. So yeah.
Do you see anything other than that? Do you think? I was kind of going that direction where Jay is strong with the bloodline and kind of fucks Sammy over, and so that goes to the tag match for Mania.
Yeah. That's exactly what I think they'll do. Yeah.
Okay. Anything else, or are we out of here and giving everybody what they wanted? Where can they find all your other information?
Yeah, so obviously my Patreon, my betting Patreon went down, but there's a website up now, lockbetting.com, and I'm also on Gum. I forget what it's called. The site I'm on.
Gumroad.
That's something else. Gumroad, that's it. Yeah,
How do I know?
There's a Gumroad page for a lot. There's a Gumroad page there. It's selling daily packages, but it's also selling massive discounted packages as well. So if you use the promo code K100 or the promo code podcast, you can get a discount on the packages for 10%, and they're already reduced anyway because Gumroad take less of a cut than Patreon did, so they're already like lower anyway, and then especially lower when you get longer term. So like you get $350 off an annual pack, plus 10% extra off that already, which is already $350 less. So yeah, I would go there to check it out. Wrestling stuff is at thedaysheets.com.
All my nonsense, like I said, just search Lingus Mafia, especially on TikTok, because that is fun. And we just bust balls on there like constantly, and you get all the AEW nerds going, if you don't like it, just don't watch it. You always have to fucking complain. It's always that. So yeah, so anything you watch is 100% perfect, no matter what it is, sitcom or anything. So don't watch it if you have a critique, I guess. That's it. I'm Cav. He's Billy. We'll see you next week.